The Resident Evil 2 remake was released recently, you might have heard, after 21 years since its original release. Now, does it scale up to the original? Not really. But they did a really great job, and I can honestly see major potential in the Resident Evil engine going forward. That's my thoughts on the game, really. They have some really great character moments, but there isn't enough of them. A lot of the meat and, quite frankly, the best moments on the original game are pretty much gone. Almost completely. So it's time to get into this title. Prepare for loose talk and analysis, as well as spoilers throughout. Now, as much as I would like to keep this a very analytical video and go into detail on certain aspects of the game and how they compare to the original, I do want to get across my opinion on this game, and that is somewhat negative. Now, I don't want to completely spin this video in that direction. This is in no way a complete burial of the Resident Evil 2 remake. I have really enjoyed my time playing the Resident Evil 2 remake, and I will enjoy to continue playing it. Let's get into my thoughts.
Hey! I'm not done talking to you!
Now, the best thing that this game gave me, personally, was a chance to experience hell that I know with a devil that I love, as opposed to a new hell that was delivered in The Evil Within. As such, I have several instances of noob gameplay compared to pro gameplay, some of which came minutes apart, with me failing a section and immediately replaying said section and using my now acquired knowledge of the section itself to pull myself out of a sticky situation. That is awesome. This is the most redeeming quality of the remake, the chance to experience Raccoon City again from a new and fresh perspective. But let's start at the beginning and get into a massive negative that's present almost immediately as you start the game. Now, we do have a brand new section, a small opening which unites Claire and Leon and introduces each character not only to us, the player, but to each other as well. A seriously cool and interesting scene where we're thrown into the world of survival horror from an outsider's point of view. Now, for consistency's sake, I decided to do my first playthrough as Claire, as previously the order that was deemed canonical was to play as Claire first and Leon second. Now, whether that's still the actual order of events is still up in the air, but I'll talk more about Leon being my disappointment on that chapter later on in this video. Now, Claire's section starts off with a bang, as you're actually placed into a location that was previously only shown to us in a cutscene. At the start of Resident Evil 2, you see a trucker, who complains at length about a woman. "Why'd she bite me?" he mumbles.
That guy's a maniac. Why'd he bite me?
In this remake, you're treated to a full-length FMV of the trucker making his way into town and thinking that he himself actually hit a girl on the road. Fortunately for him and his amazingly animated face, the girl isn't dead after all.
What do I do? What am I gonna do?
Now we meet Claire, or Leon, depending on who you chose, and get treated to a pretty cool little introduction to the remake itself. Whereas the original game had an incident take place in Raccoon City, this title has us starting the game outside of the city limits. Now, what's really interesting about the original title is that we actually didn't even need to see this. For some reason, we're treated to it as an angry trucker driving away from a gas station just outside of town, freshly bitten and ready to turn into a zombie. Now, obviously, this sets up a later scene where he drives his truck into Claire and Leon's freshly crashed car. This time around, though, instead of completely crashing into Claire and Leon and quite possibly killing them in the accident, he actually attempts to swerve and passes out and instead crashes off to the side, flipping his fuel can. Now as Leon backs himself into an alleyway running out of ammo almost immediately, this is where our two characters meet for the first time in the original game.
Wait! Don't shoot!
Get down!
With two pieces of the same puzzle fitting perfectly together without any kind of hassle whatsoever. You see, Claire arrived first, went inside, and got scared by the zombies, and Leon was there just in time to save her.
What have we got here?
Now in the remake I have absolutely no idea who arrived first, as when Leon arrives he does the exact same routine that Claire is tasked with doing herself. So what's the canon? Who arrived first? Was Claire forced off her bikes by a zombie on the road? We have no idea. So boom, straight away the remake completely fails to actually change anything substantial or improve upon the original concept. In fact, they've instead muddled up something that was incredibly straightforward and as clear as day. Now Leon and Claire crash and are forced out of the car. Now if you choose to play Leon A and Claire B, the car would spin out of control and they'd end up facing the opposite way than if you had played Claire A and Leon B instead. This makes a ton of sense, because basically, even though you shouldn't be playing Leon's campaign first, the game adapts to your decision and shows you an alternative timeline of events. That's amazing. It's the Zapping system. That's amazing. Look, I'm just going to completely get this out of the way. They totally and completely have thrown out and destroyed the Zapping system that was seen in Resident Evil 2. Gone are the items that you can pick up only once, therefore forfeiting it in the next game mode that you have to play through. Gone are the enemies that you can only kill once. Gone are the events that only happen once a playthrough. In the new remake, it's all just repeat, repeat, repeat. Repeat boss fights, repeat cutscenes, repeat puzzles. It doesn't make any sense. This game as a remake gets an F. A big, bold, underlined F. And I'm probably under 10 minutes in recording this video, but I already have to come forward and say that. Capcom, you failed at remaking this game because you fucked up the one thing that made it so important. The Zapping system. Now, when you play through the original Resident Evil game, you get the choice between A and B. Leon A, Claire B. Claire A, Claire B. I've been speaking about this for literally years now. Over 20 years, in fact. How sad is that? But I've been making videos on this concept for about 3 years, because I realised that nobody out there was really going into detail about it. Now, whether I was sitting out in my garden talking about the Zapping system, or sitting in my bedroom in the house I grew up in, I still am amazed with the Zapping system, and I still need to get across how important this is. It's so simple, and it's completely missing from the remake. So it goes like this. In the original game, after playing for a good while, you get hold of a keycard. This keycard takes you to a weapons locker. The weapons locker inside has an Uzi. Amazing, nice and straightforward, right? Now, if you, in your first playthrough, let's say Claire, if you take that Uzi for yourself, when you go back on your second playthrough as Leon, the Uzi is completely missing. Boom, that makes perfect sense. How easy is that to understand? Now in Resident Evil 2 Remake, aka Resident Evil 2 2019, when you arrive at the weapons locker, for Leon, there's a shotgun. For Claire, there's a grenade launcher. Immediate problem. That doesn't make any sense. Now I understand if you're thinking, well Josh, maybe you just played Leon A and then Claire A. Nope, I beat Claire A first and then played Leon B second, without ever touching Leon A. So to find out whilst playing through Leon B that in fact everything is a repeat, everything is a retread, it incredibly breaks down all of the writing process that I'm trying to go through to put into words how good I thought this game was when I was literally just playing through Claire A. I want to praise this game, and I will hopefully get to a point where I'm telling you about the positives, but right now when we talk about the Zapping system, the negatives, man, it just means so much more to me. There are so many key points in the original game where there are certain enemies that you fight, and depending on how much damage you do to them will determine how much more difficult your second playthrough will be through when you continue playing as the other character. That's ingenious. It makes the game completely replayable in more ways than one. let's take the alligator fight that is present in the Resident Evil 2 remake. What's really strange about the alligator fight is that it's literally only playable on Leon's campaign and doesn't make any kind of appearance in Claire's campaign. The fact that I finished Claire's campaign and then said, man, that's so strange, I didn't even see Kendo in Claire's playthrough, and then googled it and found, oh, you actually go meet Kendo in Leon's campaign, was even more frustrating. But actually, you know what, upon saying that out loud, that actually is a really good point, because now the game is way more linear, right? Claire never met Kendo according to the new canon. Leon met Kendo and saw Kendo and his daughter. Claire never fought the alligator. That's just gone there. That never took place. Only Leon fought the alligator. What a strange thing to think about. So it goes like this. In Scenario A and Scenario B, of course there's repeats. Of course there are events that take place more than once. But they couldn't make it a completely different game for each character's point of view, but they actually tried. They really did try. So for example, when you get down to the sewers in Claire A, if you kill the alligator that attacks you, when you go through a playthrough as Leon B, the alligator obviously isn't there because Claire already killed it. The same goes for Marvin Branning, who unfortunately passes away. He passes away hours into the game, like really far into the game. But according to Leon B and Claire B, as soon as you get to the police station, he's already a zombie. So the fact that you have this really touching scene between Claire and Marvin, and you go back and you visit this character multiple times, and every time he has something interesting to say to you. If you do Leon A and Claire B, you turn up at the police station and you kill this unnamed zombie, and Claire's probably looking at this guy going, who the fuck was that? It's just another dead zombie on the floor. That's not okay. That's because even if you do Leon A, Claire B, you know, obviously Leon gets to the police station first and he gets to talk to Marvin. By the time Claire gets there, obviously she doesn't get to talk to Marvin. She instead finds him on the ground. Now again, this is something interesting I can touch on, because your first playthrough of that game, you get to fight Marvin as a zombie. If you don't kill him, when you go back as the other character and you go through that same room, he's either there or not. So if you didn't fight him, and you didn't kill him, he's present in the next playthrough. Now, in the Resident Evil 2 remake, which even talking about it makes me quite upset, you have to fucking kill Marvin every time. So if you go, oh man, I really don't want to kill Marvin. Like in my playthrough as Claire, I didn't kill Marvin. I shot him in the leg, I downed him, I left him on the ground. I didn't want to kill Marvin as Claire. Now, when I started Leon B and I got to the police station and I ran out to talk to Marvin, oh man, I can't wait to see Marvin, see what he says to me. It's different. Oh, he's dead. He's already dead. He's just walking around. He's just another zombie. He's nobody now. He means nothing to Leon. So if the Claire story is canonical, which I assume it isn't, Leon never met Marvin Brannick. Leon never had that conversation with Marvin Brannick. And what's even more frustrating is throughout the entire playthrough of Resident Evil Remake, Leon and Claire talk to each other twice, maybe 3 times, the entire game. That to me is absolutely baffling. There are so many really, really cool cutscenes where, you know, you kind of go through this fight and you're fighting through all these zombies for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and eventually you get up to the STAR's office. And you take a look around and you kind of realise, there's not too much here, but it's really cool. This is clearly where Jill and Chris used to be. And just before you go to leave, boom, Claire shows up and you have this really great moment where you're talking to this character and the music swells up and it's a really cool moment of just, hey, she's alive, she's good, she's here with me. Now that moment does play out, but it plays out outside and nothing really comes of it. The thing that they added, and I will be totally honest, I did get a real kick out of it, is actually Claire and Leon. Like, obviously Claire is like a 16-year-old girl, and she just straight up totally fancies Leon. Like, she's super cute to him, and he's super cute to her, but he's kind of trying to be professional. Claire super flirts with him. That to me is amazing. Like, I really like that. I really like that Claire flirts with Leon. But again, as I say, like, there's no shit. I don't know. I really just don't know how to put it without trying to be too negative.
You should get going.
It's really rough. Like, it's super rough. It's frustrating. God damn, I'm gonna.
Get yourself to safety.
There's no way I can fucking edit around this. I'm just gonna have to do.
No, Leon.
I'm gonna have to write a proper script instead of just doing this like this. This won't work.